When it comes to feeling lucky, St. Patrick's Day, of course, is the holiday that we all think of, and how lucky is it that we now have Lucky Clover distress products? So today I am going to be creating this card with you, and it's going to have all kinds of different fun green accents, but we also have a fun surprise, a gift card holder within the card. So let's get started, and we're going to start with a 3 3/4 inch square of watercolor paper. And I'm going to start with watercolor paper because it's going to be able to do more with the distress products that we're going to use on it, starting with distress ink in Lucky Clover and a foam blending tool. Now I am going to just kind of twist gently instead of scrubbing, because I don't want, with such an intricate stencil, I don't want to hurt my stencil with my foam tool by pulling across. So by either twisting or just tapping gently the color across where we would like it is going to work just fine. And as you can see, I've got my pattern all ready. Then I'm going to just take this foam tool and blend around the edges, starting from off of the paper so that I get that nice soft blend. I'm also making sure to put more pressure on the back side of my foam blending tool. So the side that's going onto the paper, I'm really light. I'm really pressing down on the back side. That will prevent you from getting any of those hard lines or circles with your foam blending tool. Once satisfied with that, it's time for the Lucky Clover spray stain, and I'm going to pull the top off so that I can just tap a few little dots. And what this is going to do, I will show you now as we pull out some water in the mini mister and spray. And when I spray, it's going to activate that mist, and it's going to it's going to slightly blur my stencil design, but that mist is really going to add a lot more pigment, a lot more color, so that we get a really fun blended look here. Now, if you want to add more layers, if you want to add more color, all you're going to want to do is just continue to do that. I would just recommend drying in between so that you don't end up with just a solid pool of color. So for example, if I want to add a little more green ink towards the edges, I can go ahead and do that now, or maybe just some of the edges. I can go ahead and add another layer of color, and then I could repeat with the water or not. In this case, I'm thinking not. I think we're just fine. So we're going to move on to adding some embellishments, and I'm going to add some crafty power tape, a nice strong double-sided adhesive tape, or perhaps a strip off of an adhesive sheet will work. What this is going to do is hold everything in place and allow us to work with all of our embellishments until we add a layer of glossy accents on top. So the first thing I want is my clover charm, since this is for St. Patrick's Day. But before I put it on there, I want to get it ready, and I'm going to tap some distress paint in Lucky Clover onto it, and then I can leave it as it is, or I can wipe it off just a little bit here, just so that some of the metal shows through. Sometimes I like it to have the metal show through as well as the paint. I don't always want it to be just solid one color. So if you let it dry first, you would just want to get a little bit of sanding paper and sand that off. Either way will work. And I'm going to take a sticker. I've done Lucky is a state of mind. This time I'm going to do Make a Wish, because I feel like if you're feeling lucky, make a wish, that seems like a fun thing to say. And I'm just going to adhere that down, and then I'm going to take my clover charm. Even though the paint is wet, you can go ahead and place it. And I'm going to place my clover charm like so. Then I'm going to take my buttons, sequins, beads, and things and start playing. So we're going to want to start with the larger elements, because the larger ones are harder to place. And what I mean by that is it's easy to find a spot for something tiny. It's not always easy if you've got something on the larger side. So I'm just going to put those 3 buttons, and then I'm going to move into smaller bits and pieces, like these little half pearls, and these are all from the same little bottle of embellishments. And that I love having different sizes of things, so that as I work and play here and add things, I've got all kinds of different sizes of embellishments, and they're all green, so they're all going to go together and really come together nicely. Now you see I'm dropping little beads onto here and getting them to stick on the glue, or excuse me, on the double-sided tape, we're not going to worry about if everything's perfectly in place or if everything's going to stay there permanently, because we are going to add in some glossy accents that's going to really reinforce that. So I'm just going to continue on filling up this area. And once I'm happy with everything and how it has all filled in, I'm going to take glossy accents, and I'm not going to put this on top of the buttons or the pearls. I'm also not going to put this on top of my clover charm. I'm really just kind of putting a small amount here and there wherever I've got the beads and things, the smaller things, the things that don't tend to stick quite as well to the double-sided tape. Now, we don't have to worry about the bigger items because I am putting this all around them. It is going to help them stay in place as well. It just doesn't need to be underneath or on top of them. So it doesn't take very much. You'll just want to use a little bit, and you can put it over your sentiment or not. That's totally up to you. The other benefit that doing this has for your project is that if there's any exposed double-sided tape, this is going to cover it, seal it, and there won't be anything sticky. So now we've got the front of our card made. It is time to work on the card base. At the card base, what I have is just white cardstock. It is 11 inches long and 4 inches high, and I have folded it so that the front will be 4 by 4, and then I have a second fold here. Now what I am going to do to make this into our gift card pocket, I'm going to take some of that double-sided tape and put it down. What I like to do is have it go just a little bit past the fold. I find that that just really can help make sure it stays sturdy and stays sealed once we get our gift card in there. Just make sure not to put any on the end because you do want to be able to tuck something in there. And now I have some Heidi Swapp gold foil tape. I love this gold foil tape. It is so pretty, but it also adds such a nice detail to the project. I'm just going to place it down, and I don't remove the backing all the way. The backing is still on here because what I am going to do now is just kind of give it a little pinch so that it's in place, and then take some scissors and just trim off the excess. That way I don't have any wasted tape, and the only backing that comes off is the tape that I actually used. We are almost done now. Our final step is to put some adhesive on the front of the card. Now normally I would do the back side of the card, but because I don't want to flip over our card front that has all the embellishings and such, I'm going to put, and I am being very generous with this because we have so many embellishments and a lot of weight to that card. I really want to make sure it sticks very well to our card, and we just center it up here. And there we go. You can see there's a couple different versions. If you would like to add a little gold or a little sparkle, you can take some Heidi Swapp Gold Mist. And if you want to have more of a spray, you could spray it. Otherwise, if you just want a few little droplets, take off the top and add a few little drops for a golden finishing touch.